President Muhammadu Buhari has told Nigerians to develop strong confidence in the country and never allow terrorist groups to destroy the nation. The president said this at the palace of the Emir of Damaturu, Ashimi II, El Kanemi. Buhari also noted that the country has bounced back from its troubled days, thanking members of the armed forces and the police for their sacrifices. The recent endorsement of Peter Obi for the 2023 presidential election by the former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, has triggered reactions. We thought this would have died down, but till this moment is still sparking reactions in the society. Joining me on today's edition of this program, Elijah Ayodele, a public affairs analyst. Together we shall be deliberating on these issues together. I'll be right back. You're welcome to the program.
It's a pleasure, and I think being here is a privilege to be part of 2023, as many intend to cross over to the new year, but unfortunately, they couldn't. So for me to be here and for the first time in this studio, I think I should take this opportunity to say compliments of the season to the All News management, the crew, and the entire global followers of All News TV.
All right, thank you so much. Now, looking at what is currently going on in Nigeria, it's a season of election. And I think we have just 1 month to go. This is January. The month we are anticipating is just around the corner, February. Now, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, visited Adamawa, which really triggered some kind of reactions in the country. As a matter of fact, that was his first time of campaigning, for Tinubu, which Nigerians expected him, or let's say the APC members expected him to have done for a very long time. Now, how do you see this, and what can you draw out of this action that took place yesterday?
The truth be told, President Muhammadu Buhari, as a number one citizen of Nigeria, is owing us the duty of governance, and I don't think every sane man in the street will expect him to abandon governance and pick up a campaign banner and fly around the country. It is not a must campaign everywhere for the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate. They have their presidential campaign council in place, and perhaps I believe there are men that are capable of doing that to win an election for their party. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong in him being with them, of which I believe it can be everywhere. According to the timetable, except for any beer changes, is going to be with them in 10 states out of 36. And fair enough, I think that is good. I was watching live yesterday the campaign in Adamawa, the home state of the PDP presidential candidate and former vice president of the country, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The crowd was much. The organizer did a very good job, very fantastic. The crowd was quite beyond my expectation, but at the same time, if you look back into it, Buhari has been part of Adamawa State for many years because he married from there. So I don't doubt that the people will welcome him. And if you look at Buhari for the past, since 2003, that he has always been on the ballot for presidential election, he has been across the northern region. He has been getting not less than 10 million votes. So which Adamawa is one of those states. And if you look at the last presidential election in 2019, if you have the record, go and fact check. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, being from that state, narrowly beat APC in that state.
That's about 412,000 votes to
377,000 APC in that state. And now that most of the people in APC, the bigwigs, are coming together to unite to form a common front to ensure that the party win in that state. And perhaps, if you take note of it, you see that of all the 36 states, that APC is trying to present a candidate for governorship election. It is only in Adamawa they are presenting Aisha Binani as gubernatorial candidate for their party. And she's a very popular woman. I think it's one of the reasons why the crowd was that much yesterday, apart from Buhari being on ground and other big wigs of the party.
And looking forward to a woman being the first female governor of Adamawa State or what?
It is possible. Nothing is impossible in Nigeria. The era of sitting in one place to write figure to decide who win an election has gone. So anything can happen. It depends on your popularity, how you can converse. And if you care to know, if you care to listen, of which I believe you know, as of today, you cannot undermine the place of women in our votes in the election.
Okay.
So for them to follow a fellow woman like them, you know what that spell out. So anything can happen. It's possible. Let's wait and see.
Okay. Now, let's quickly move down to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the endorsement of Peter Obi by the former president of Nigeria. Of course, Tinubu has been making all sorts of statements concerning OBJ's endorsement of Peter Obi. Now, looking at the endorsement of Peter Obi by the former president of Nigeria, what does that depict in this modern democracy? I'm talking about the 2023 election. Now, there have been talks that OBJ couldn't even win its own unit, its ward unit during the 2019 general election. Now, he has come out to support Peter Obi. Now, let's even leave this aside. The same OBJ endorsed Atiku in the 2019 election, if I'm not mistaken. And Atiku, at the end of the day, was defeated by the incumbent president, Muhammadu Buhari. In 2014-2015, I think he supported President Muhammadu Buhari. That was the time he tore the membership card or something of the People's Democratic Party. Now, with all these things being done by OBJ, what can you say about him as an elder statesman? Do you really think an elder statesman has that right to dictate for Nigerians? Do you think he has that capacity to push out or to pick someone that could rule the country for Nigerians?
Why are we taking issue with Obasanjo? Why? Yeah, for a fact, if Obasanjo chooses a candidate or endorse a candidate, it is a civil right. He's a Nigerian. He has the right to endorse anybody. For him to endorse Mr. A does not mean I should go on the same page with him to endorse Mr. A. You have your candidate. I'm not expecting you to face the camera and tell the whole world. I have my own preferred candidate if I'm to vote. You don't expect me to come and face the camera and say it to the whole world. Talk less of a man of his stature and status. We have other past leaders of the country. Gowon is still very much alive. We have Abdulsalami Abubakar. We have General IBB. None of them has ever come out to endorse a candidate. Obasanjo's endorsement is nothing to me as a person. But to all those responding to him, I think sometimes, if you choose not to answer a fool, he will think he's wise. Obasanjo has always been the type that, since he wasted about, allegedly, $600 million to ensure he returned for third time, he has always been moving around the corridor of power. He brought Umaru Musa Yar'Adua in 2007, and on live telecast, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua said that the election that produced him as a president is a fraudulent one. So what electoral capacity does Obasanjo have that he cannot present a successor without rigging election? In 2011, he supported Goodluck Jonathan.
Yeah.
I think the highest presidential result vote that we ever had, which is a little bit above 20 million, was in that 2011. He supported him. The moment the man, Jonathan, refused to accept the dictate of Obasanjo as far as governance is concerned, they fell apart. He started writing letters. He can write and write and write and write. At the end of the day, he said he's no longer supporting Goodluck Jonathan. In fact, Obasanjo was one that alleged Jonathan of having killer squad in this country. And you and I know that Obasanjo lied against the man. I'm a typical Yoruba man, a proudly Yoruba man. I'm not supposed to say this about him, but let us take the bull by its horn. Obasanjo lied against Jonathan that he has a killer squad in the country. He lied. Go and fact check. Is it not the same Obasanjo that faced the whole world and said, Abiola wasn't the Messiah Nigeria is expecting? He has always been against anyone that want to break an edge.
Break an edge, or anyone that is not doing well.
That will break an edge without listening to anything that will come from Obasanjo.
That's positive things. Positive things always.
Be it positive or negative. Obasanjo will always want to dictate to you. Is it not the same Obasanjo that cannot, when he was a president, a sitting president, he cannot dictate who becomes the king of his own community? The kingmakers brought a candidate against his own candidate. Is it not the same Obasanjo that in 2015 tore his membership card of PDP and he told us that he's resigning from partisan politics? Why is he writing letter again? But having said this, I think Obasanjo is free to endorse Obi, but he should have done that without coming to the open glare. Like every other past leaders. If you ask them, they have their preferred candidate. But they will never come out to start up
in the public, right?
Yes.
Well, what was that?
To create issue with their preferred candidate.
Was that a mistake?
It should be a mistake on his part. But there's no amount of rainfall in the forest, Michael, that can remove the spotted skin of a leopard. Obasanjo cannot change.
But he did that to Atiku Abubakar.
He did that.
That's 2019.
In 2019, did Atiku won the election? He didn't.
He lost it.
He's now looking. It has become a known thing that since 2019, Obasanjo will look at somebody he believed that could not win an election and endorse that person. I'm not going to sit here today and predict the winner of 2023 presidential election. When the right time comes, I'm going to do that. It might not be here on this station, but I will predict. But what I'm saying is, the man Obasanjo is endorsing today is not the strongest man that is well positioned to win 2023 election.
Why did you say that?
With every sense of responsibility, Obi does not have what it takes. Obasanjo is not the only one endorsing him. Before Obasanjo, in Yoruba land, we have Baba Adebanjo, who endorsed him on behalf of Afenifere, of which a certain faction denounced. That is his own endorsement, not general endorsement of Afenifere people. So, I'm not seeing Obi as a winner of 2023 election, because if you look at his political tentacles, how spread is it across the country? This is the city of Lagos. Lagos is having over 7.1 million registered voters, as the largest in the country of all the 36 states. Who is Obi's candidate in Lagos? In each of the 3 senatorial districts in Lagos, what is the impact of Obi politically? As campaign is ongoing, can you beat your chest, face the camera and tell the world that across the nook and crannies of Lagos State, that you are feeling the impact of Obi? Anytime he comes to Lagos to talk to the Christian community, to whatever, you see some crowd following him. Does that mean he's going to win election? Across the 36 states, tell me, the recently concluded election in both Ekiti and Osun State, can you tell me the impact of Obi in that election?
But haven't you been seeing his campaigns?
I've been seeing his campaign.
The massive support.
What are the crowd? The massive support.
From the eastern region, the south, from the Christian community, the western region.
Michael, don't overstress me. Don't overstress me with Obi issue.
Okay.
If you look at the southeast you are talking about, They are number 5. They have 11.49 million registered voters. Can you face the world and tell them today that Obi, a southerner from the southeast, will win the whole of 11.49 million votes in that state, in that region? Don't forget, Obi is a Labour Party. We have 5 states in southeast. One of the 5 states belongs to Abga. Whether you like it or not, Abga traditionally owns Anambra State, and that's the state of Obi himself. In 2019, they went into an alliance with the then governor of that state, Willie Obiano, before he swayed the votes of Anambra to the PDP, where Obi was the vice presidential running mate to Atiku Abubakar. That was how they won that election, not on the back heel of Obi's political sagacity. Apart from that Anambra State, we have 4 states left in the southeast. 2 of those states are being controlled by PDP. That is Enugu State under Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, and Abia State under Okeze Ikpeazu.
Imo State is
Why
APC,
Imo
APC,
and
APC.
Ebonyi fell under APC?
APC, yeah.
Are you saying those? For instance, the 2 states controlled by PDP in southeast fell to the integrity group, the G5, and they are still saying that they are not going to support Atiku Abubakar. That is their party, PDP. Are you saying of today that both Okeze Ikpeazu and Lawrence Ugwuanyi will endorse Peter Obi? And if they does, he has 2 states out of 5. But eventually he liaised with Professor Soludo of his own home state to vote for him. We still have Imo State and Ebonyi State. Are they going to abandon their party? I'm talking of David Umahi of Ebonyi State and Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. They are returning as Hope Uzodinma is going to return as governor of his own state. Is he going to betray his party?
That's APC.
And move to Labour Party to vote for Obi? David Umahi of Ebonyi State is running up as governor for 8 years and is contesting as a senator. Is he going to sway vote in support of his kinsman, Obi, because of blood, to betray his party? So I doubt if Obi can win 60% of votes in his own region, Southeast, which is number 5 according to registered voters past region.
Are you telling me that Obi is heading towards failure or what?
I have not pronounced that.
Or Obasanjo's endorsement is meaningless.
The endorsement of Obasanjo is nothing. Because, like you rightly said in your presentation, that Obasanjo lost his own ward. He didn't win his polling unit. Let us assume he win his polling unit. He lost in his own ward. If Obasanjo is endorsing Peter Obi, can Obasanjo, this is the first time in the history of Ogun State, his home state, that you have all the past governors of the state on the same political party to align with a sitting governor. That Abiodun is in APC. Brigadier Daniel served as governor for 8 years under PDP. Is contesting as a senator under APC. We have
even Bankole.
We have Amosun, is serving senator, is in APC. You have Baba Aremo, Olusegun Obasanjo, who served as an AD governor for 4 years, is in APC. Can Obasanjo,
the former Senate president, also
Speaker of the House of Representatives,
Speaker,
the Major Bankole is in APC. But I'm even talking about the governors now. Can Obasanjo defeat those guys in Ogun State? Can Obasanjo win his senatorial district for Peter Obi? Let us wait and see. So if he cannot win his own senatorial district, he cannot win his own home state, can he win his own region, Southwest, for Peter Obi. So was the big deal in his endorsement of Peter Obi? What I expected of those people responding to his endorsement is to look at those. I don't know if you have seen that letter. I saw the letter. I have a copy of it in my system. I've analyzed it, and I discovered that three things have been spelled out in that letter. I expect those parties responding to him to look at those gray areas in that letter and work towards that area to campaign for their own candidate instead of joining issue with Obasanjo. He did a terrible mistake by endorsing anybody openly. He's another statesman.
Okay.
He shouldn't have done that.
Are you saying you're not seeing Obi as a threat to Tinubu?
I'm not seeing Obi as a threat to Asuwaju Bola Ahmed.
Then where else is a threat to Tinubu?
Well, if I'm to pick, I would say Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, but he's of little threat to Tinubu, but it's more of threat than Peter Obi, the way I'm saying it. Because Atiku is in PDP. The PDP is a party that is well on ground in the 36 states of the Federation. So with that, it's ahead of Obi. We are looking at a candidate that is more of a threat to as well.
Wow. Wow. Okay, now, Governor Wike of Rivers State made a statement that was last week that something is fundamentally wrong with Atiku. If his principal, who happens to be the former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, could not, support his presidential ambition. Now, the question I want to ask you now is, where do you think Atiku missed out?
Nigeria politics is somehow difficult sometimes to decipher what has gone wrong with A or B. But from what has been in the public domain over the years, especially since 2007, that Atiku left office, he has fallen apart with Obasanjo. And from a certain school of thought, they said Obasanjo doesn't forgive. So which means with all he has been doing, it is not easy to predict Obasanjo's position. In 2019 election, he endorsed Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And recently I saw him speaking to the media that he will support Atiku to be Nigeria's president in 2023 if he becomes a Southerner, which is impossible. So, Obasanjo and Atiku's issue dated back to their days in office. Much has not been revealed as per why they have been on loggerhead. So, saying that Atiku missed his steps, I don't think I will align with that statement. But with the situation of things, if the crisis in PDP couldn't be resolved, or which with what is obvious now, is that it would be extremely difficult, not impossible. It will be extremely difficult to resolve the crisis in PDP. And if they didn't resolve that crisis, PDP and Atiku will be going into 2023 contest progressively weakened.
Progressively weakened?
Yeah, because if you look at the number of registered voters in the country, state by state, Rivers State has overtaken Katsina to pick the number 4 spot.
Okay.
And Rivers State of today is having 3,689,000 registered voters in number 4 position. While Oyo is occupying the number 7 position with 3,330,000 registered voters. Benue is coming behind as number 8 with 2,832,000 registered voters. Okay, look at those 3 states plus Enugu and Abia. So if they couldn't resolve, which means the combination of those 5 states is taking away 6 million votes averagely from Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So what does that spell? It means it's going to the contest progressively weakened, electoral-wise. We have 93.5 million voters for 2023 polls. So, and we cannot be so sure that the whole of Nigeria will. Of course, I'm expecting that we should experience more turnout for 2023 election than the previous elections in Nigeria.
What was the reason?
The reason being that most of the people are now seeing reason. And one of those reasons is that they believe that with the amendment in the electoral laws, their vote will count. Unlike in the days when somebody will sit somewhere and just write figure. When somebody will sit somewhere and dictate what happens somewhere. So the belief of the people is in INEC that if they endure to vote, their votes will count. So that is why in the recently concluded continuous registered voters, you see that we have those youth that doesn't really come out much to vote coming out, and they take about 71% of registered voters now. Women is having it's occupying the second position behind the youth. So I believe that people will come out this time around to vote massively than ever before. And if they are to vote with what is obtainable from the INEC site as a website, we are likely going to experience higher results from each of the states than we used to have. For instance, Lagos has always been taking the lead as the highest registered voter state.
Okay.
But in terms of turnout, it is always low, coming behind Kano, coming behind Kaduna, coming behind Katsina. But this time around, that the man in Lagos, the star boy, is contesting to take the seat of number one man in the country. I'm sure the Lagos people will vote.
And I'm sure that's your preferred candidate. That's why you are really talking about him, you are also giving him that serious support on this platform.
I'm not giving any support. Go to my platform. I didn't write anything
about it. It's obvious, Elijah.
I'm not writing
it's
anything
obvious.
about
it's obvious
because
you can't tell me that with a massive support, with a massive support being given to Peter Obi by Nigerians, especially the youth, that Obi cannot stand as a threat to Tinubu.
I'm stating the obvious, Michael. I'm stating the obvious. Okay, if I tell you, if I'm sitting here to face the world that 71% of the registered voters are youths. Now, of all these youths, we don't have more than 31.45% on internet. Are you telling me the number of youths in Borno State? Can you give me the figure of the number of youths in Borno State, in Sokoto, in Katsina, in Adamawa that are on internet, like the number of youths in Southwest, Southeast, and South-South? And if the North is giving us bulk of votes, either the youth, the women, or the men, are you saying that those youths are going to listen to Peter Obi and abandon? For instance, let us take Borno as a case study. The governor of the state recently came out and addressed the Senate that 2 local governments in his state are still under the control of Boko Haram, which means in those areas, nobody can vote. In 2019, larger votes from Borno State came from the IDP. Are you saying that they will abandon the man that is feeding them, clothing them, and kept them away from the Boko Haram insurgents? That they will abandon such a man and listen to Obi? How many of them are on social media that will understand the campaign strategy of Obi, the campaign strategy of Yele Sowore? These are the points. These are the points. So it's going to be extremely difficult to win the youths in the north because a large majority of them are not on social media. So how are you reaching out to them? Apart from the south, southwest, southeast, the 3 other regions in the north, are the youth social media people? Like predominantly in the South? No. So it's not that I'm campaigning for Aswaj. I'm not campaigning for anybody. Go and check my platform. I didn't write anything about anybody. I didn't campaign. I didn't canvass. I didn't campaign for
So you're
anybody.
just saying the plain truth.
I'm stating the obvious.
It simply means
The obvious.
Obi is not a grassroots politician or what?
I'm not going to sit down here to say Obi is not a grassroots politician, but I will sit here to tell the world, and without any fear of being challenged by anyone, that Obi's political tentacle has not been well spread like that of Tinubu and Atiku.
It's not well structured.
Yes. Not well spread across the country like that of Atiku and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right. We really appreciate you, Elijah. But let's quickly go on a short break. And after the short break, we'll be talking about Nigeria's debt profile. I'll be right back. You're welcome back to the program. Elijah, Nigeria's debt profile spells doom for the incoming government, and this is raising serious concern, in the society. By the end of May, the end of Buhari's tenure, the debt profile will hit about 77 trillion naira. Now, how do you think the incoming government will tackle this, and how best do you think we can avert these debts we've incurred?
Nigeria, as a country, economically, we're in serious crisis. The present government has not really done the best in managing our economy. But that is not to say that they created the problem. They didn't. If you look back to 2020, 2021, and recall the global pandemic that befell the whole world, Nigeria is not exempted. And from that point, the collapse in our economy, the necessary inflation and other things was on skyrocketing level. It is quite unfortunate that this government, when they came on board, our debt profile was extremely low, not up to 15 trillion, not up to. I don't want to give a figure that will be questionable, but I don't think it's up to 15 trillion as at that time. This is a capitalist economy. We are consuming, we are not producing anything. And you shouldn't be expecting anything less. As of today, Nigeria is not doing much economic-wise. Otherwise, the advantage of the Ukraine and Russia war will have pushed Nigeria up in terms of oil revenues and production. But because we only consume, we don't produce. Mm-hmm. If we are producing, it will increase our revenue, our IGR, it will increase our reserve, of which from each, some part of the money will have diverted to service the debt. But the incoming government, I think they should look more into economy if they want to succeed. They should think of a producing economy than a consuming economy.
Because Elijah, whether we like it or not, it's a big problem for the incoming government.
It's a threat. At the moment, we're under serious economic crisis.
Let's forget about the fact that Obi left some money in Anambra State government's purse and all that kind of a thing. This time around is a very big threat, very big problem for us.
They need the best brain to manage their economy and not to be consuming. Anybody that is coming on board to lead Nigeria as of now, looking at our debt profile rising to almost 77 trillion naira, should know that if we keep managing or running a consuming economy, the debt profile will be increasing. We'll be borrowing money for infrastructure, we'll be borrowing money for salaries and other things. If we look in the direction of producing, whatever we produce, we reduce our consumption from foreign countries. Most of the things we use in the country, including toothpicks, have been imported into the country. We're not producing anything. What are we producing? what are we producing? So you shouldn't expect anything less. I'm not an economic animal that will give a comprehensive data of what we're having offhand. Otherwise, I will have read out some things. And I don't want to go into details of what we subject me to questions from economic experts. But I think it would be advisable for whoever that is coming to rule us, be it Obi, be it Atiku, be it Asiwaju, or any one of them, to focus in the direction of producing.
Now, security is another major challenge that this administration, really faced. In the 2015 general election, that was during the campaign of Buhari, he made promises that the Nigerians really expected him to fulfill. One of the promises was that he would flush out Boko Haram within 6 months or so. But since his inception, or since his existence in office, we've not seen an end to that, especially in the northern region. Now, come May, Buhari will leave in the office, and insecurity is still imminent in the society. How best do you think this can be tackled, especially now that we are entering the electioneering period? I'm talking about February 25. How best can we secure our lives and properties and the lives of the electorates, that will be casting votes for these persons?
Security, as they used to say, is everybody's business. But I quite disagree, and I beg to disagree. I would rather put it that security is everybody's concern, but government's business.
Government business.
Yes,
Okay.
it is business of the government, their primary business, to secure the lives and properties of the citizen. It is not me that is not trained as
A security expert?
that will now pick an arm against a terrorist group. So it's not my business, my concern. Indeed, I don't really count much on the manifesto of aspirants. And that's where, in most cases, we are missing it. When they speak to us, we listen to them and we accept it as such. At the end of the day, they get to the office, they deviate. We cannot call them back to ask them why they have not done what they promised us. Buhari promised Nigeria that he will flush out Boko Haram and other security threats in the country. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that. But that is not to say that he has not done anything. He has done much. As at the time he took over in 2015, almost 70 local governments in Borno State were under the control of Boko Haram. As of today, according to Babagana Zulum, the governor of that state, we're having just 2 local governments under the control of Boko Haram. And if you are conversant with that terrain, they are extreme far north, close to the forest. It's just a passage close to the forest. They have done tremendously well. It was in one of those local government, those 2 local governments still under the control of Boko Haram, that the commander, a certain commander, a colonel, I couldn't recall his name, that was killed in a battle. So they really battled those guys. But in most cases, when you push them out of this place, they move to the other place. We have security problem at hand. Just this year, on the 8th of January, Lieutenant Colonel N.B. Ahmad, who resumed as the new commander in 8th Division in Sokoto, was coming back to Kano. He was kidnapped. A lieutenant colonel, for that matter, a senior military officer. In Imo State, a newly commissioned Lieutenant P.P. Johnson was also kidnapped. The lady was tortured. I don't know if you see the video.
Yeah. It went viral.
She was beaten and tortured. To tell you that the military people are putting themselves online to fight the battle, but it has not been completely won. But it has drastically reduced. I am not a spokesperson for Buhari's government. I don't work with the government, but I'm just stating the obvious. You can fact check whatever I say here. They have done tremendously well. But even at that, no portion of the country, no part of the country is expected to be under the control of a terrorist group. They need to do more. They can do better. Those people in those two local governments in Borno, for instance, has not been able to access their ancestral homeland. So, of what use is that? They live their life in IDP. It's not a befitting life. You and I are sitting here comfortably in a comfort zone in Lagos, discussing what is happening to them there. If you have been opportune to be there, it's not only in the northwest, northeast, I mean, they're also in northwest. The man that was kidnapped, the Lieutenant Colonel, is in northwest, coming from Sokoto to Kano, and a Lieutenant Colonel for that matter. It's not ranking officer in Nigeria. So, nowhere is safe. We have the threat all across. They're in southwest too. But I'm not sitting here to create tension for the southwesterner. The southwest, you can recall what happened in Owo. We have their shell around Ondo North. And you know, Ondo State is having boundary, it's just the gateway to the south from the north. They're having boundary with several states. And towards the north, where these people are operating, they access the forest in Ondo State through the Ondo North towards Owo, towards Sobe, towards all these Akoko area. So they can access the forest and hang around that place. That's why they have been operating in Ondo State. Don't forget they killed a first-class monarch, Olufon Ofifon. Don't forget they went to the Catholic Church in Owalua, in Owo. They killed about 25 people.
Yeah.
Don't forget they have been operating in the northern part of Ondo State because it's close to the north. So nowhere is safe. The government can still do more because it's one of their mantras, it's one of their campaign strategies, one of the principal things in their manifesto they promise Nigerians, and we should hold them accountable for that. Right. You promise to flush them out, not to reduce them. And we expect you to do that. A lot of money are going into
the security
sector of the country. So we expect a better result.
Now,
they have done well.
Whether we like it or not, these are the issues the incoming government should look into. They are very, very vital. Now, looking at these three major contenders, who among them do you think can tackle insecurity in the country, looking at their track records?
The three major contenders?
Yes.
Don't let us sit here and discuss things with sentiment. If I'm to pick anyone ahead of others, it could be sentiment. Why? Both Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of APC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of PDP, and Peter Obi of Labour Party, they have never governed a state that experienced terrorist attack like Borno, like Yobe, like Sokoto, like Katsina. So, in their records, I don't think they have managed such before. And to just pick somebody and say, oh, because of his political sagacity, because of his whatever, that is going to do better than others. I don't want to delve into that. But I want to believe that the three of them understand the security situation in the country, and they should be better prepared for the job to do it for Nigerians. I want to trust them that if they are going to serve Nigerians, they should hold security and the economy very, very important.
Okay. Now, before we go, I would like us to look into the foreign news. Now, of course, we all know that 2024 is another year for the Americans, to choose their own preferred candidates. The incumbent president of the United States of America, Joe Biden, is bidding for the second term. Of course, we all know that the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, lost the election, which Joe Biden won. Now, In America's electoral process, the electoral college is a determinant of who wins in the United States. Now, do you think Joe Biden is likely to get that vote from that angle? And with the syndrome of Americans first of Donald Trump, do you think that will play out this time around?
U.S. politics is quite different from our own politics. It's practically a politics of ideology. It's politics of the people. But we were all here when Joe Biden was bidding Trump farewell from the White House. I'm not seeing Donald Trump coming back to rule that state. Possibly at the moment. Maybe in the nearest future. I don't know. But for now, you know most of his policies when he was in government was quite threatening to the black race in America, both the black American and the migrants. And those people, they have their own votes. They have their own vote blocks. They voted massively for Joe Biden because of the threat of the policies of
Donald Trump.
Okay. And I'm not seeing them repenting from that so soon. Joe Biden has not implemented any policy that is against any race or color.
Does it mean Trump was kicked out because of
it's because of
racism?
It's not because of his racism. Yes, of course. You know him. You know Donald Trump.
He was a racist, or he's still a racist?
He was a racist, and I don't change. He can change his color.
Wow.
I don't think so. So if he's coming back with that mindset that he wants to rule America, what is he going to tell the black race in U.S. or other nationals in that country to vote for him? He was against every other national outside of that American, and even within America, you know, he was quite against the black race. You know the number of atrocities that was committed under his government against the black people.
Even the Black Lives Matter or something like that.
The Black Lives Matter came under his government. So I'm not seeing them welcoming him back to the state. I doubt if he can come back in 2024 and defeat Joe Biden.
Wow.
I don't see that.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for coming on board on this program. And on this note, we say goodbye to you on today's edition of Political Matters. Join us next time on the same platform. I remain Michael Adekunle. Bye for now.